And now the Hansons and Hiatus podcast with Nate and Alexis.
Happy Friday, fuckers. It is episode 81 of the Hansons on Hiatus podcast. I am your host, Nate, and this is my wife, Alexis.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
And don't forget to support the podcast. buymeacoffee.com/Hansons on Hiatus. If you like what we're doing here, you can buy us some virtual beers, and we will really drink them in real life, as usual. And also, hansonsonhiatus.com. You can check out our merch store, all the links to the podcast, the video cast, everything, our Instagram, and you can become a fucky supporter, monthly supporter, which we like to call the fuckies.
Yep.
And you can be a little fucky for 99 cents. You can be a medium fucky for $4.99, or you can be a big fucky for $9.99.
We would love you to be a fucky.
We love them big old fuckies. But any kind, we appreciate.
We love any size fuckies.
That's right.
We don't discriminate.
Yes. No. All fuckies are welcome here.
Yes.
And also, like, follow, share, subscribe, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, iTunes, YouTube Music, any other podcast apps that you like. Let us know if we're not on there. We'll get it taken care of.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you remember, if you listened to last week's episode, we were getting ready to go on our anniversary trip to Mexico City. Yep. And we did that, and we made it.
We successfully made it and made it home.
Yeah, made it home, even in the hurricane.
Yes.
And anybody in Florida and Georgia and maybe Alabama, wherever else, hope you guys are doing okay.
Yeah, be safe.
I know.
Hunker down.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to hit today sometime or whatever. But what we got wasn't very bad. It was the start of the hurricane. I think it was maybe even a tropical storm at the time. So we just got some bad rainstorms and wind and stuff like that. But
lots
it wasn't
of rain, lots of wind.
Yeah, it wasn't too much damage. But our trip to Mexico City. So if you remember, we got some super cheap flights for what were they, like $16 there and $7 back.
I don't know how you find these flights, and people ask, what do you use to find these great deals? Where are you looking? You're just looking all the time.
Yeah, it's not really. And I've never really found a site that's like gives you way better deals than the actual airline or hotel or whatever. Typically what I do is I use sites like Expedia or Google Flights or whatever, and I find the flight, and then I go to the actual website or the actual hotel site, I guess.
Check it out.
And check it out. Yeah, so same thing with our hotel. Like, we got like 4 or 5 nights in Mexico City for like $200. But it was like 300 something on maybe Expedia or something. But I went to their actual website, and they had like, if you book online on their website, you get like a 15 or 20% discount or something.
Sign us up.
Yeah, so you see, I've found typically you save more money going to the actual sites, because it really doesn't. I mean, sometimes you get better deals on, Expedia or this or that or whatever, but
like a promotion.
But yeah, typically they're not selling a third party cheaper than what you can get it from the source. But it has happened. So anyway, we got a super cheap flight. I thought it was so funny when we were getting on the plane, and we were on the domestic side. Usually we're on international, flying back to the US or wherever. So we were on domestic side, and they have a Domino's pizza there.
Yes.
And that one dude, some people get upset about people bringing food on the plane. This motherfucker brought a whole fucking pizza on.
He did. I smelled it the whole time. Like, can I have a slice? Just a little sliver.
And those things aren't easy. Like the little trays that come out, they're not that big anymore. I can't even put my laptop on it without it like jamming me in the stomach. So
I think I saw him. He just had it in front of him, wedged between the seat in front of him and his tummy.
Yeah. And then since we do like the basic economy tickets typically, because we don't need to be fancy for fucking 2 hours. Like, I want to get there and spend my money there.
Yes.
So we don't buy seats. We didn't do any luggage. We just did backpacks and everything. But this time, usually airlines will put you together anyway if you're on the same reservation. But this Viva Aerobus did not do that. They put us nicely. We were both in aisle seats, but like 6 aisles apart or 6 rows apart.
They were like, your tricks ain't working here. You guys can sit apart for a while.
Yeah. So I was in like kind of, it wasn't the emergency row. It was in front of the emergency row.
Yeah. They were like shorter rows.
Yeah. And it only had 2 seats. It was missing like the window seat and there was a window.
But there was like the space where a seat used to be. Or should have been.
Yeah. So I, and even though I had like a backpack, usually they make you put the backpacks under the seat and they save the top part for the hand luggage,
Yeah.
you know, like the carry-on luggage. And this lady was like, "Oh, like, where do you want me to put you? Like, I'll put your bag." And she put my bag up, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I figured I had to shove it under the seat or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you and I are messaging because the plane was fairly unoccupied.
Yeah.
There's
There were some rows
there's a
open.
couple rows open, and nobody was sitting. It was 2 seats, you know, in my row,
Mhm.
and nobody was in the other seat.
Yep.
So I messaged you, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, come on up."
I'm coming.
So you came, yeah. Let me separate that.
Damn it.
Mark that. Oh shoot. But you come sit next to me, and you put your backpack underneath the other seat, or the seat in front, where there was no seat next to us.
Yeah.
And then you had like your jacket on the back of the seat or whatever.
Yeah, making myself comfy,
Yeah.
making myself at home.
I didn't think it was a big deal. And then your little tiny purse.
Mhm.
And the guy, like the flight attendant guy, comes over and he's like, "Oh, like basically was saying you couldn't have your seat or your bag under the seat next to you."
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, okay." So he took it and he put it up above.
But not until we were like
About
about to land.
No, we were taking. Oh no, you're right.
Yeah,
It was when we were landing. Oh yeah, because you moved in the middle of the row.
Yeah.
Or, I
He
mean, in
looked
the
at
middle
me
of the flight.
like, "What are you doing? You're not allowed to do that." I'm like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah, it was when we were landing, and then you're like, "Okay," so you did that, and then he was saying something to us again, and he was upset that you had your jacket on the back of the chair.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, sorry." So I took it off. It's not like it was on the outside of the chair.
No.
It was touching me. It was behind
Yeah,
my
it was
back.
just draped over you.
So I pulled it down and put it beside me, and he's like, "No, give me the jacket." I'm like, "Okay." So I handed my jacket and then my little purse too. He's like, "The purse, give me the purse." I'm like,
Yeah, it was like
took all my things and put it above me. I was like,
it was.
"Okay."
It was so weird. You could have just put your jacket on and your
Yeah.
purse. I don't know what the big deal was. You could have put it in the seat pocket in front of you.
Yeah, it must
He's like,
be the row.
"Give me your gum.
Yeah.
Give me your gum.
Give it.
Nothing on your body.
It must be a row that you're not allowed to have anything.
Give me your earrings."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was super weird. I didn't get that.
I was like, "No, thank you," and he's like, "No, seriously, give me your stuff." I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Well, and one of the reasons we got our flight so cheap is because we flew into Toluca, which is a suburb of Mexico City, kind of. I mean, it's like 45 minutes away, but it's also like 1 million people. You know, Mexico City, I think, is like 20-some million.
Oh, God.
But yeah, it's a large city. And it's about 45 minutes to an hour away, sometimes an hour and a half, depending on traffic or whatever.
Yeah.
So I did a bunch of research on how to get over there because I'm like, well, I might be saving a bunch of money to get to this suburb airport, but if I have to spend, $100 on an Uber to get into Mexico City, then it kind of defeats the purpose on saving on the
Exactly.
flight.
Yep.
So I found that there is this shuttle, and it leaves like every 2 hours, and it is, what was it? It's like 140 pesos, right? So it was like
Yeah.
$7, $7-ish bucks
Each.
each. Yeah. So we're spending $7 because we looked at the Uber and it was like $60.
Yeah.
Which is still a fucking great deal for an hour Uber ride
It
for
really
$60.
is. Yeah.
So we go and we're rushing off the plane because we landed at 11:45.
Mhm.
The next shuttle was at noon, and then the next shuttle wasn't until 2. So we're like, oh, we got to get on this noon shuttle.
Mhm.
So we get off the plane. It's a small airport. We get over to the counter, the ticket counter or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, like we told them which bus or was it shuttle basically.
Yeah, like a shuttle bus.
Yeah, it was like a little shuttle bus, like holds like 16 people or
Yeah.
something. And we tell them which one we want, and she's like typing it in. She's like, oh, there's no more tickets.
Yeah.
We're like, fuck. And the guy right in front of us got the last one, I think.
Mhm.
It's like some of it. So we go over there, try to see if we can get in on it. And they're like, no, there's no room.
They weren't having it.
Yeah, so we
We're
ended
like,
up,
maybe someone didn't show up or canceled. They're like, no.
yeah. But we did have to wait another like hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever for the shuttle.
Mhm.
But we also didn't have to spend $60, $70. We spent $14.
True.
So it worked out.
I'd rather save it. We went to the food court and just hung out.
Yeah, we charged our phones
Yep.
up
had a
and
snack.
had a snack. Yeah, it was nice. And then so we had to ride that shuttle over to Mexico City, and that was your favorite shuttle ride.
That was a little bumpy.
Yeah.
It was a little stop and go. There was lots of traffic, so it was just intense.
Yeah, it was a lot bumpy. And then once we got there, then we got into the Uber, which I've said this before, but in Mexico City, the Ubers, they're so cheap. We were
So
there for
cheap.
4 days. Every Uber that we took was like $5,
Yeah.
maybe $6.
Yeah.
You tip them 20%, so I'm giving them like $1 or something.
All of them are less than $10.
Yeah, I added it up over 4 or 5 days. We spent like, I think $57 in Ubers.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, that would be like one trip.
Short
trip.
Yeah, one. I mean, just from the airport, it's like $100-some.
Yeah.
If, depending on how busy they are or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was worth it. And it was cool on the way over. We didn't get to do this. We wanted to, and we're going to have to do it next time. But the, what are they called? This, the little sky ride, the gondola things.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember what they call them. Sky buses or something. I don't know.
Shuttle bus?
But yeah, it looks like a gondola from, like a ski lift or whatever kind of, but they're the enclosed ones.
Yeah.
And that's how people get around in the suburbs is you pay like 7 pesos and you can ride these little gondolas over the city so you don't have to deal with all the traffic because there's so many people there and everything.
Such a smart idea.
Genius.
And so fun. You get to see the whole, all the view, everything going on.
Yeah.
Such a fun idea.
We were more centralized, like in the middle of the city. And so I was like, is it really worth it at this point to take an Uber out to go ride this gondola thing that like all the locals are like, we ride this to get around. You're just doing this for fun.
I want this to work.
Yeah. So, we'll have to do that next time.
Yes.
It looks like a good time.
I think they look fun.
Yeah. But once we finally got into the city, we went to that Falling Piano Brewery.
Yes, that was cool.
Yeah. Really cool. Awesome beers.
Nice food.
Yeah, really good food. The only problem was I was planning on going there to do my beer chug, obviously, because there was a beer that was called Alexis.
Oh my
It was an
gosh.
Alexis IPA.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And, of course, they didn't have it. It was out.
They looked at us like, oh, no, it's been gone for weeks. We're like, we just saw it on social media.
Yeah, I was like, motherfuckers. So we had a good time there. And then we went to another brewery while we were waiting to check in. And this one's called La Roma. And we have like 4 or 5 breweries that we normally go to in Mexico City. And then there was a couple that we'd never been to before.
Yeah.
And so I've, done some research and I was like, okay, this La Roma one looks good. And so we go in there and we sit down and this guy comes over and he was like, happy Friday, fucker. And I was like, what the fuck? Like who knows me here? And it was one of the beer tenders. His name's Victor. And he used to work at the brewery here in Playa del Carmen.
Yes.
And
Hilarious.
It's so funny. So like the 2 breweries here or beer bars here, a lot of times people will come from like like in Mexico City or somewhere else in the country and they come here for the summer and they just work a summer job like on the beach. It's like going, for spring break basically.
Yeah, why not?
So he was working here for, however long and then I guess moved back to Mexico City, but we had no idea. Like we see these people that work at the brewery and the beer bars and all of a sudden they'll just be gone and we'll never see them again.
Yeah, sometimes we'll even ask like, hey, where'd this person go or that? And they're just like, oh, they're working somewhere. They'll be back or I'm not sure. Not very informative.
Or like our friend Josue, like he goes to Canada in the summer and he works there at a brewery because it's so fucking hot here. So he goes there for the summer. But yeah, so just totally fucking random.
So funny.
Like,
Victor's so nice.
What are the chances? Yeah, so that's super cool to see somebody we knew. I mean, like, it's the biggest city in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah.
Millions and millions of people and tourists and everything. And we go and we know one person there, I guess, because I don't know anyone else that lives there.
Yeah.
And we run into him.
I
Like,
know.
what are the fucking chances?
The exact same,
Unreal.
the same brewery, the same time he was working, everything. And we just got in. It was perfect.
Yeah, let me look at the population of Mexico City.
He gave us a lot of tips too, so it was really nice to see him. A lot of beer reviews. That was great.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, this was it's like 22.5 million people.
Wow.
Yeah, so that it's a big city.
It's a big city, and you can tell with the traffic, it's insane. It made me very nervous, and all the Uber drivers drive defensively. They drive crazy fast because they want to get to that spot as quick as possible, get the next fare, and keep moving on. But you're just like,
yeah,
the whole time with your
Yeah.
seatbelt on, like, please.
Like, please. And then that night we went to, and this one was something that we weren't super keen on, but we were just like looking for things to do and like, a lucha libre match. It's
Yes.
like a Mexican wrestling match, where they wear the masks and everything. And so we were like, oh, that might be fun. We weren't really sure. Everybody that we asked, our friends that had been, they were like, oh, you have to do it. It's so much fun. And I was like,
Yeah.
I've been to like WWE stuff and, WCW or whatever. It was really fucking fun.
It was really fun. Great
Yeah.
presentation, great arena. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So this, I mean, and we're not big professional wrestling fans,
Right.
but from what I understand is this is the oldest or the longest running wrestling promotion in existence.
I believe it.
It's been going on since like 1933 or something, like 90 some years. And like it was, the crowd was like all into it. Like I don't know if they knew the characters or they were just into it. You know?
They did. Well, the people in front of us, their little girl had the mask on and they were cheering for specific people and their name. I think people had favorites for sure.
True. Yeah. And I guess if you do it like if you live there, maybe you do it multiple times, you probably get to know like the wrestlers and stuff.
I'm sure if we lived there and that was our thing, we would definitely have our favorites, wrestling at different events.
And we just got kind of like middle of the road tickets. They were like 25 US, about $25. But even like the ringside seats, I think where were they, like
$50, $60?
Yeah, they were like 700 pesos, so maybe like 35, $40. They weren't even that bad, you know. And then the beers, I thought the beers were going to be expensive. I'm like, oh, that's how they're going to get us.
Yeah.
They were like 60 pesos. We got they were like $3 for a beer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. We got some micheladas and man, it was good. The one thing I will say though is the concession guys need to sit the fuck down.
Yes.
Yeah.
They would not get out of our way. They were in the aisle the whole time. We're like, please move. Oh, it's the thing.
Yeah. It was like every time, and then they set their beer tray down in front of us, basically. So they were constantly coming over to get more beers or whatever. And it was just like, could you just do this in between the matches, maybe, or like wait for somebody to wave you down? Because the whole time, like dudes were just walking in front of us. And so maybe I wanted the aisle seat so we could get out easier, but maybe we sit on the other aisle next time.
Yeah, or just in the middle or something.
Yeah. Well, like if we were where we were on the left side of the aisle. If we were on the right side, there would be no aisle people in front of us.
True.
So I think if we sit over there next time, it would be good. But it really fun. So what did they do for security? Did they like pat you down or anything?
Yeah, we walked through I think we walked through metal detectors and then they looked through my bag a little bit. That was about it.
Well, it was weird though. Like down the stairs outside, like there was just cops like standing out in the crowd and just like frisking people, Or I mean, as we were coming in,
they didn't frisk me.
Yeah, but didn't you have to go to a female cop? Like they had a line for the females, and you had to go there, and then
Maybe they did.
And then I had to go through the male cop. I don't even know if there was metal detectors. Maybe when we went into the place, but
yeah, they separated us for sure. And I remember them looking through my bag. I don't remember her patting me down. Maybe she did.
Yeah.
It was a blur. It was a lot going on because the neighborhood's not the nicest neighborhood, so we're walking through that and figuring it out. But then inside it was awesome. The lights and the energy and the wrestlers were amazing, just like flying out of the ring left and right. Like, how are you not hurt? They were amazing.
Yeah, it was a good experience. So yeah, if you ever go to Mexico City, definitely check that out.
You gotta go to one for sure.
What else did we do? Oh, we were just walking around town and we went to we actually wasn't on our list. This is on our list another time. We were just like, if we go, we go. If we don't, we don't. Yeah. And it's the Monumento a la Revolución. Oh. And it's the monument to the revolution. And it's a monument built for the Mexican Revolution in 1910. And it's like, and you can go up inside of it. I don't really know how to describe what it looks like. Yeah. It's almost like on a building on four legs. And then in the middle, there's an elevator that goes up into the top and there's like a dome.
Yeah. It's got this really pretty dome on the tippy top.
Yeah. But it reminded me of like kind of the Statue of Liberty. Did you ever go on the Statue of Liberty when you were a kid?
Yeah.
It was you go inside and it's a lot of steel beams and like that cement that you can like spray on the wall or whatever.
Yeah.
But they made it into kind of like a museum.
Yeah.
Right.
Little walkthrough museum. So when we went in, I liked that they had everything. Like, follow the yellow line. That's what the lady said. We just followed it around. You went underneath the building, like you're saying, with all the steel beams and all the drippy kind of water noises. And then you see all the plaques and different stuff. And then you come around to the elevator, and it's this cool glass elevator that you go up in so you can see the whole view of everything going on. It was really cool.
Yeah.
It was nicely done.
Yeah. It was cool. Definitely. Yeah. And we'd seen that on some YouTube video or something.
Yeah, we're like, why not? It was cheap and more history, and we're nerds, nerd alert.
Yeah.
We like to see stuff like that. But I like to know, we're living in this country and we're visiting these different cities or towns or whatever, why not go learn about their history and check out where they came from?
Yeah, it was very interesting. But when we were walking up to the Monument to the Revolution, we see a protest going on.
Yeah, we're like, oh shit, what's going
So,
on?
and we get a little bit closer, and it's a magic mushroom protest.
People were dressed a little funky.
Yeah, for sure. And I was like, okay. And there's like cops surrounding them and everything, but they're not doing it. They're just making sure they're good.
Yeah.
And there was a guy with like a Mexican flag and a mushroom hat and I think a cape. He looked like Mexican Mario Brothers.
He did.
There was a woman that was like full body paint
Yep.
and mushroom hat.
Yep.
I think she might have been topless. I don't know.
I think she was.
Yeah. And I mean, they even had like somebody brought their kids or something. They're holding these like, free the mushroom sign, or I can't remember what it said.
There were a couple little ones
there.
there.
And then they did this like kind of ceremony, and I assume they were eating mushrooms because they did this kind of like, they had this smoke powder thing, and then they were all eating something, and then they all sat there. They were very hippie like.
It was kind of like here on the beach where they do the sacred Mayan ceremony.
Yeah,
like
the
bless
blessing.
you or all that. So it looked like that and was smoking everywhere. We're like, oh, we know this.
Yeah. So we go up in the monument. And we're up there for maybe like an hour taking pictures and everything like that. And then when we come down, the group had dispersed, but everybody was line dancing. And we're like, all right. So apparently the Mexican magic mushrooms makes you break out into a little Cotton Eye Joe.
You hear Cotton Eye Joe? We were like, there's people everywhere. And then we come back down and that's what was going on. We're like, what happened?
Yeah, I can't say if it's the same people or not, but it definitely to us looked like they ate mushrooms and then started line dancing.
It did.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Mushrooms will do that to you.
Yeah, it sure will. And what else did we do? We went to the Michelin star taco stand.
Yes, we did.
What was it called? Taqueria.
Like La Perouse.
It was like, no, Califa a la Leon or something like that. De la Leon. I'll have to look up the name of it, but it's the
had a long name.
Yeah. Leon. Yeah. But it was like definitely the only taco stand to ever receive a Michelin star.
Yes.
And I know there's been a lot of controversy over it because people that are like hoity-toity restaurant people are like, a taco place should never have a Michelin star.
Oh, they haven't been to this taco place. It was so cute. It's like right in this little line of shops. So you wouldn't even know. If you were just walking past it, you probably would just think it's another taco shop. But there's like clothes and different vendors selling all sorts of things.
One of those outdoor markets, and it's just like the taco shop is just kind of like in this little stand, and it's very small.
Very small. Very small.
Yeah, Califa de Leon. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
But wow. So, well, first of all, we walk right up and we see them, doing the meat and everything, and they're making tortillas by like they literally have the dough, they're rolling it out and putting the tortillas on the grill.
Tortilla machine and just like chucking them everywhere.
Yeah, and the lady making the meat on the grill is like salt baying it.
Oh,
like,
she was. It was all women working there.
Yeah,
all
it was.
Women.
Yeah, so the guy, I guess, that runs it or owns it wasn't there, so maybe that's his wife.
His day off.
Yeah, maybe that's his wife or something.
Yeah, or it's his family probably.
So we go up and we're trying to figure out. There's like some people in the store, and then there are in the little shop, and then there's some like kind of on the line, maybe 2-3 people on the side. Yeah. And we're like, all right, where do we order at? Like, where do we pay? We're trying to figure out.
We're like, this looks like an order line, and then over there looks like people that have ordered and they're waiting for their tacos.
Yeah. So we stand there for a little bit, and then this guy says something to us, and we figure out he's telling us, yo, the line's over there. Yeah. And we go in between the sidewalk and the street. There's like all these other shops, like, just not souvenir, like chargers or T-shirts or socks, whatever. Remote controls. There's a whole shop for just remote controls.
Anything you could think of to buy that you might need, big or small, was there.
Yeah. Oh, remember we saw the lady driving her little cart by, and she just sold like chip clips.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck they were, like laundry clips.
And there was another lady with like, the clothesline, like the laundry lines and the little clippy things and everything. There was another lady with just brooms. Broom heads, broom handles, different kind of pans. All right,
I'm going to sidebar here for a second. So we've noticed that there's different areas in Mexico City, because there's not like, there's probably, Walmart or whatever, but most of the things are like setups are in a city so large and congested, you have to go to a specific store for something. So it's like you got to go to the door handle store, and I only sell door handles, or
Light bulb store.
But then they're all right next to each other. So like the light bulb store, like you're saying, we were like, oh, we're in the light bulb district now. And there was like 10 of those stores in a row, or little shops in a row.
Yep.
Same thing with
like the mechanics. There's a whole
the mechanic
section.
row, or there's like a nail, like a,
Oh yeah, the acrylic nails and the eyelashes. There were so many stores. Everything you could want for your fake eyelashes, the lashes, the utensils, the glue, everything. But multiple stores of that, which is so
it's
weird.
like Chinatown, but for things. They're just like, we're just going to put them all in one area.
Yep.
Which, so I don't understand, because in a big city, it makes sense for the consumer, because you can just go from each store to store and say, okay, well, here, I can weigh all my options right here.
Mm-hmm.
But as a business owner, don't you want to be like spread out?
Yeah.
I mean, so you're not really offering, like, especially the light bulb guys, they all have the same fucking light bulbs.
Yep.
So the price, unless you have like a big price difference, like, what's your marketing strategy? You know, like, hey, come to mine. My store has a cooler name. Like, you know, like.
And then if you're lowballing the other guys, do you make your neighbors pissed off? Like, hey, you're selling light bulbs for $5, but they really should be $7. Come on, you're screwing the rest of us.
Yeah. So and especially like if you live somewhere in the city, I don't want to have to travel to the light bulb district.
Yeah.
I want to maybe go downstairs to the corner store and go to Juan's light bulbs.
Yeah.
You know, on the corner. You know?
Bob.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we found out we were in the wrong line.
Yep.
And we go and we walk through the little tents, and then we see it on the street, and it's, what was it, maybe like 15 people? It really wasn't too bad at that time.
It's a decent-sized line to where we're like, oh, we were next.
Yeah. And we sat there for maybe 45 minutes, I think, in line, and it got twice as long while we were there. So we went at like 2:00.
Yeah, this was after lunchtime, and everyone else that kept getting in line behind us kept looking at us like, can I cut in front of you? How do you, is this the line? And we're all like, yes, it's for the tacos. Just get in line.
Yeah. But when we got our tacos, oh my God. They were, I mean, like, I don't know what Michelin star quality or whatever, but they were some of the best tacos. I mean, it wasn't even like cut up meat.
Yeah.
We got, what do we got? Costillas, rib meat tacos, and just bistec. So just like a, meat, beef.
And that's what they're known for, right?
Yeah, that was like their famous one. There you go. I think what they're known for. And they're, what were they, 50 pesos?
Cheap.
40 pesos? Something like that, like $2-3 or something, which is actually kind of expensive for tacos in Mexico City. Sure. Because we got those tortas for fucking 60 pesos.
Oh, yeah.
And it had like ham and beef and bacon, avocado,
and
cheese, everything on it. I'm like, how are you guys making any money?
Don't get me started on that torta. So good.
So good. Yeah, the street. If you go to Mexico City, the street food is a must.
It's a must.
Yeah,
you can get baked goods like bakery, donuts, things like that, or a torta. You can get soup. You get everything. They have everything.
Yeah. So we order our tacos, and we noticed that the shop next door, people are like eating in it, but there's also like T-shirts and sweatshirts and shit hanging on the wall.
It was a clothing store, but with a lot of male Speedos as well.
Oh, really?
I don't understand.
Oh, I did see that line. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Everybody was they had the Speedos on little mannequins, and then they had them stuffed at the front of them. So everybody's walking by going, boop, 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 like checking out the little thongs. And they were in the restaurant as well. We're like, what's going on?
Yeah. So we figured out that after they got their Michelin star, they got so busy, and it's just a taco stand. There's literally a place for 2 or 3 people to stand and eat on the little countertop.
Yeah,
like that's it.
Nope.
So we figured out next door was a clothing store, and I think they made a deal with them, like, hey, if we can have people eat there, we'll give you like a little bit of the profits or something like that.
Yeah.
So they put all these tables in these clothing stores. So it was like, we felt like we were eating in a Foot Locker.
You really did. You had to wiggle yourself in there. And these little ladies were going back and forth, giving you napkins, giving you more sauces. I don't know.
They're like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to us.
Yes. They're like, thank you, thank you. And they were all so happy and appreciative. So it was really good. The tacos were amazing.
Yes.
And we've eaten a lot of tacos in our life, a lot of different kinds of tacos, different areas. They were good.
Yes, so good, so good.
They got our Michelin star.
Yeah.
You know? They got the Hansons on Hiatus.
They got the fucky approval.
The fucky approval, yes. They got a fucky star.
And then our big thing that we did for our anniversary was we went to Grutas Tolantango. Yes. And that is this area about 4 hours north of Mexico City. It's in the mountains. And
Another shuttle bus in my
yeah,
life.
yeah, another bus. And it's this like kind of almost like a nature park.
Mhm.
It's on the side of this mountain, and there's a hot spring water that comes out of the mountain. So they've built these kind of little hot tubs, basically.
Yeah, little
And
pools.
part of it's natural, part of it's built into the rock or whatever. It's not like completely fabricated, but there's just these levels of like hot tubs.
Yeah.
And I mean, it
Right
was,
up your alley.
yeah, right. Like that's why we're going there. But then like I said, it's like not an eco park. It's like a campground.
Yeah, it's like a natural park. though.
Yeah, so they have like a couple little hotels built into the side of the mountain,
Mhm.
and they have restaurants,
Mhm.
like 2 or 3 restaurants. They have like a little elote stand. They're
Yeah.
selling popsicles and stuff, and then there's a general store. So if you camp there, that you can get your supplies.
Yes.
Yeah, because we opted just to do a day trip,
Yep.
but you can stay at the hotel, and I think it was like $50 a night.
Which I think we definitely want to go back and
Oh
do.
yeah, we're definitely doing that. Probably some more friends, I think.
Yes.
And but you can camp there, and
Mhm.
most of the local Mexican families camp there.
Oh yeah.
And
We saw some nice tents.
oh yeah, for
some
sure. And
really built out campsites.
yeah, and so this is in the state of Hidalgo,
Mhm.
and they have like barbecue grills, and you can also rent tents and stuff like that. But if you have all your own shit, you
Yeah.
can. It's $10 to get into the park.
Mhm.
You 30 pesos to pay, so $1.50 to pay,
Yep.
or to park.
Yep.
And you can camp for free as long as you're in shit. Set up your tent there. You're right along at the bottom of the little hot tub area.
Mhm.
There's this amazing river,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like this almost like milky color, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's blue depending on what the
Like a
sun looks like or what.
Bluish green.
But it's from
kinda.
like all the rock minerals and stuff like that. And then they have these little levels there, and people are just just tons of people swimming,
People.
and all the little Mexican families are around like grilling and just drinking and hanging out. It's like going camping with your family,
It
but
is.
in an amazing place.
And amazing. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it was so cool.
And then there's some other like swimming pools, and there's like a high dive, and I think there's a zip line.
Yeah.
But one of the coolest parts was we went over to, I mean, the hot tubs were definitely probably one of my favorites.
Those were amazing.
But when we went over to where the waterfall is,
Yes.
so the grutas are caves.
Yep.
And so we went over the waterfall, and this waterfall goes over these 2 caves.
Mhm.
And so you go in the left one, and it's just like this hole that goes back into the cave, and it's so dark
So dark.
and hot in there.
Steamy. So
Yeah.
steamy and hot. It was amazing.
Yeah, it felt like you were in like a sauna, like
Oh, yeah.
hot to like steam room kind of thing.
Yep.
And there's like I had to turn on my cell phone light so we could see where the fuck we were going.
Yeah.
And you get back there, and I'm like sweating, like it was hot, and you're like half in the water, half out, and you can't see anything. It's just crazy.
It was a little scary. I was just so surprised again, just like Egypt. They're like, here, climb in this hole into the pyramids. Go for it. We'll be here waiting. I'm like, I can't believe they let people do this.
Yeah.
And we're just climbing into this dark hole. There's like a lifeguard guy sitting there like, go ahead, just not paying attention. And it was awesome though. It was very steamy, very different.
Yeah, and then we went into this other cave, and it's a little bit more open. Like this
Mhm.
one was like tight cave.
Yeah.
The other one that we went into was a little more open. There's kind of like a pool in there, and at the top of the cave, there's just this hole and just water. I mean, just from the like underground waterfall just coming in.
It's just gushing out
Yeah.
everywhere. These are like the starts of where this hot water is coming from, that everyone down the way is swimming in the river, and they're swimming in these little pools. It's feeding into all these different areas, and it's coming out fast.
Yeah,
You
it's
just hear
hard.
it like
Yeah.
it's nonstop.
Yeah, I went in it with my GoPro on my head, and you went in it and
Yeah.
fucking took your swimsuit off.
And almost took my top
yeah,
off.
I
It
saw Nippy.
took my I think everybody was like,
Yeah.
just holding on their stuff. Ripped my headband off, almost took my top off. It was intense.
Yeah, but yeah, it was super awesome. People are just hanging out in there. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people just like sitting in the water, just like feeling the waterfall come down on you. It
A
was just
lot of
gorgeous.
people seem to love it's like a therapeutic experience, obviously the minerals and the water, and it's not like I don't know, even in Florida you think you kind of get that like funky water smell. This smelled great.
Oh,
It
yeah.
smelled clean. It
Yeah,
smelled
it's
clear.
hot spring water.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. But a lot of people, you could just see them sitting there under the water flow, just taking it in, maybe getting a massage from it almost, but they just looked so at peace, just laying in the water enjoying it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was great. Shoot, I missed a couple things in my notes. I'll go back and cover, I guess.
Yes.
But when we were going there, like going to get the shuttle,
Oh, yeah.
and we just booked a day trip, leaves at 6 a.m., gets back at 11 p.m. So all fucking day.
All day.
So we're going to get picked up on the bus, and it's 5:30 in the morning, and we have to go, and they call this area the Zocalo, which is like the town square, basically, and it's also where, like, I think the president's house or like Congress and everything is. And then there's also this church that we've talked about before, and then there's these ancient ruins that are under the Zocalo, and it's just like, it's an insane place. But we were trying to go there, and there's like a police blockade.
Yeah.
And we're like, what the fuck? You know, like, how do we get through here or whatever? So we had to talk to them and show them, like, hey, we're going on this tour. And they're like, oh, yeah, come on in.
Yeah, they didn't care at all. They're like, get in here.
And they were setting up for a concert inside of the Zocalo area. So that's why they were blocking everything off, I guess.
It was so early for all of them there. And at first they didn't look very happy. Like, they had the blockade. You're not coming through here. But they did.
Yeah.
They let us.
But yeah, 4-hour ride up there. Also a very bumpy ride.
Yes.
The driver loved the fucking Cranberries and Evanescence.
Oh my God.
I think we heard that for 4 hours. Same
He
songs.
He was like 2000s, 90s, 2000s alternative fan. We were like, is this Evanescence again? Is this Paramore? Just random, like, taking us back. I'm like, wow, I haven't heard this one in a while.
And there was only... Who else? Yeah, and he just kept on playing it over and over again. And I think eventually he put on Mexican music on the way back. We were like, anything else, please.
He kind of split it up a little.
But I think there was there was those 3 people, and then that lady and her mom and her daughter.
Yeah.
So there's like 6 other people in the van. It wasn't too bad. And then we had a guide, which I don't really know why we needed one. She just rode on the bus, and she didn't come in the park with us. So
She's
whatever.
like, bye, and then hi.
Yeah. But she was asking where everybody's from, and we're like, so while we've been in Mexico City, we just tell people we're from Georgia. Yeah. It's been a lot easier to say, oh, well, you know, we're at Playa del Carmen. And then a lot of people in fucking Mexico don't know where Playa del Carmen is for some reason. And then we say Quintana Roo.
The beach of Carmen.
And then they're like, okay, really? Like, well, where are you really from? And so then I'm originally from Iowa, but then we met in Florida, but then we lived in Georgia. So we're just like, we're from Atlanta, you know, or we're in Georgia or whatever. And they're like, oh, you speak English, you're Americans. And because the guide spoke English as well. And I was like, yeah. But people are always surprised in Mexico City to hear we're from the United States, because it must not, I mean, obviously it's a giant city. I thought there would be lots of tourism and people from other countries there and stuff, but they always seem very shocked that we're like, really? Oh, the United States, Estados Unidos, huh? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I will say this trip, we were the only white people in a lot of the things that we did.
Yeah.
And it was very noticeable. We're just like, hey, I kind of blend in a little more than you.
Oh, for sure. They're like, who's this white boy with this Mexican chick trying to steal our women's?
Yes. But at least you weren't walking around wearing your, Playa del Carmen bright ass boxer short or your swim shorts and tank tops and things like that.
I did bring shoes on this trip.
You did.
But we were still walking around Mexico City. We were the only people wearing shorts.
Everyone was in their fall winter gear.
Yeah.
Like
we're the beach trash.
Big jackets.
We're the Daytona Beach of fucking, Mexico.
Oh yeah. We got a lot of turns. Like, are they wearing sandals right now? And they're freezing. But we're like, this feels great. It's like 65, 70 degrees outside. Thank God. We're not sweating.
Yeah, because the elevation is, I think, 2,000 feet higher than Denver.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like we got altitude sickness.
Yeah, you feel it.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like we were. Especially at the Grutas, we were the only white people there, so we were getting some looks that were probably like, these motherfuckers have found our spot.
We got some smiles, and then we got some like concerned looks, like, oh no, the Instagram people found us. Damn it.
No. But yeah, what else? Just beautiful countryside going up in Hidalgo.
Gorgeous.
The flowers, streams, mountains, the
butterflies,
barbacoa,
Ooh.
like just the food and everything.
We always have great food in Mexico City.
Yeah, for sure. What else? Oh, I thought it was funny and this is the thing we've had, and this might be a longer conversation at some point, but we go to get a locker at the Grutas, and you tell the guy your name because they needed a name for it, and you said Alexis. And one guy kind of spoke English and the other one didn't at all. And he's the one writing your name down, and he kind of looked a little confused. And then the guy that kind of spoke English, he looks at the other guy and he goes, Alexis. And the guy was like, oh, okay.
That's kind of how our landlord says it, Alexis.
And like I said, this will be a longer conversation some other time, but Mexicans. Why can you not understand? I know our pronunciation isn't perfect when we speak in Spanish.
Of course it's not.
But how can you not understand things when we maybe don't like enunciate a certain part of it, the perfect or whatever? Like
Right.
if a Spanish speaking person came up to me and said, "Do you know where I can find a book?"
Yeah.
I wouldn't go, "A book? What is a book?" You know, I'd be like, "Oh, he's saying a book." You know, I get it. It's that close. And especially when a lot of Spanish words like are one letter, like you switch two letters around and it's a completely different fucking word.
Yeah.
You think you would pick up on that. Like, oh, okay, yeah, like this is what they meant. It's pretty close to this, you know,
Well,
like
it's weird that I can say Alexis, but saying Alexis, he understood. Oh, and he spelled it perfect too. I was like, what? I can't even say my own name right in Spanish.
oh yeah. And they can never say my name. They can't say Nate. Like it's always
Nate.
Nate. Yeah. So that's me. Old
You got
Nate.
this trip, you got Nate, and then you got Nady.
Yeah.
Remember?
Well, that's because he spelled my name wrong. He spelled it Nety or something
Yeah.
like that.
We're like, that's a new one. All right. We'll take it. I am
Yeah.
Nady.
But I definitely want to talk about that sometime. Maybe we'll have our friend Juan on sometime and ask him some of these questions that we need
I
to
think
know.
we need more
'Cause he-
Liz too.
Well, yeah, but I was just thinking because Juan grew up, he's
true.
from Mexico. He grew up part of his life in Chicago, but then lives back here and has
Mm-hmm.
lived most of his life here. And he speaks fluent English, so
Yes.
and Spanish, obviously. So maybe he can kind of tell us why people can't understand things we were saying when they're very fucking close.
I know.
Yeah.
There's no like reading between the lines, or I feel like when we meet people here and they're learning English and they're telling me things, and they're like, "Oh, is that right?" I'm like, "Yeah, a book's a book. Like I get it." Or a pug, people would say poog here. I can understand that you're calling my pug a poog. I can understand the difference
Yeah.
of that. I'm not going to go, "I have no idea." I kind of just fake it and go, "Yeah, they're probably, context clues. They're talking about the dog." So I don't know. Maybe we were just taught that growing up to kind of figure out things in between sentences and then just put it together. I don't know.
Yeah, but just the way that they speak so fast and words sound so similar.
Yeah.
I assume that all Spanish speaking people have like fucking rabbit ears. Like
Yes.
they can hear things that we can't hear. Because a lot of times it's not that I don't know what words they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even hear the words because they're just so jumbled together. I'm not hearing them separately in my head to be able to like figure out what they're saying or
Yeah,
whatever.
and fast.
So if they can hear that somebody talking that fast, I don't know why you can't figure out when I say a word a little bit different.
I'm thinking maybe that we have more of an accent than we can hear. So obviously we have.
It can't be that much.
I
though.
mean, we don't really have a southern drawl or like a Midwestern twang or something like that. I feel like we're kind of middle of the road.
Yeah.
We try and put our Spanish flair on things and pronunciate it right, but I don't know. We just have some problems sometimes.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll talk about that some other time because that's definitely a good conversation.
Yes.
One more. We got some more stories we probably won't get to. I'm going to get to one more before we get out of here. Weed. So we were,
And that's it.
yeah, and that's it. So we were, it's a big city. We didn't bring anything on the plane or anything like that.
No.
So we figured, we'll be able to find something somewhere. And we have a friend that frequents Mexico City often and is telling us about the parks.
Yeah.
And so we've heard about these 3 parks, and there's probably more, I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully.
And they are known like legal smoking areas, and you can buy it there too. And there are these like rogue dispensaries.
Yeah.
And so like I guess like the police just say, "Hey, just keep it in this park. It's not technically legal, but it's not technically illegal. Like it's a very gray area." And Mexico City is the capital of the country.
Yeah.
So it's like Washington, D.C. So there's like, that's why there was a mushroom protest. And that people are protesting about the legality of marijuana and everything, whatever. So our buddy Victor at the brewery, we asked him about it. We're like, "Hey, like, what's the deal with the parks? I heard, there's this one you can go to." And he's like, "Oh, you can also go to this one and this one." And we're like, "Okay, like, what do we do?" And he's like, "Just look for a little tent
Yeah.
is set up there and you can go buy weed there. And then you can smoke it in the park."
Yeah, we're like, even us? Are
Yeah,
you sure?
we're like, okay.
Okay.
So the first one we went to, we couldn't find it. They shut down the whole fucking park.
Yeah.
And we happened upon like a fucking Pokemon convention or something.
We did. We're like, what's happening
There
here?
was this crowd. I was like, something's going on over. Let's go over there. The crowd of like fucking 20 Mexican people, or 200.
Yeah.
And we go over there and they all have these booklets, and I see they have Magic the Gathering cards, and they're like trading Magic the Gathering cards. Like, what the fuck?
So
yeah, hey, to each their own.
Hey, their party was popping.
Yeah, but so we walked all over that place. We couldn't find it. So on our anniversary, we're like, we're gonna find some fucking weed.
Yes.
So we start walking over to the edge of Chapultepec Park where they told us to go, and we get over there and we see this crowd of people. And we're like, holy shit, it is here. Like, we didn't realize it, right?
We did it.
Yeah.
We just see this time. We're like, that's it. That's it.
Yeah. So we walk up and there's a bunch of people just kind of sitting around smoking, like just all chilling.
I mean, we could definitely smell it.
Rolling joints, like doing this and that. And so we go up to the tent and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. And I get into the tent and there's this basically a beer pong table. And there's all these little baskets and they have joints in, like pre-rolled joints. They have like little baggies of weed. I didn't even look around at everything else because I was kind of nervous and I didn't know what I was doing. And obviously I don't speak the best Spanish.
I was behind you like, oh, hello.
Yeah. And so I looked at the lady and I was like, dos mota. And so she starts to try to give me the little baggies of weed, I guess. And I'm like, I don't want to roll my own joint and do all that stuff. Like,
we don't want to buy devices.
Yeah, I was like, we're here for 2 more days. Let's just get 2 joints. So I'll get 1 for today, 1 for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so I was like, churritos, like I guess that's slang for little joints, like a churro. And she's like, oh, okay. And I didn't even ask what strain this is. Is it indica or sativa? Like, I didn't ask any questions because I was like, I don't know. I'm fucking going crazy that this is even happening right now.
The first basket looked good. We're like that.
Yeah, I was like that. So I just grabbed 2 of them and she was like, 120 pesos. So
it was cool because, well, she was like, said the price and then you were going to hand her the money and she was just like, put it down there. So then you set it down and then she picked it up and then would get the weed, set it down, and then you would pick the weed up.
Yeah, it was like she wasn't allowed to
like, no one touch anything.
Touch the money. It was like, if you happen to like drop money right here, you can have it or whatever.
Just like, here you go.
Yeah, so we get our 2 joints and then there's another like little stand and it's selling like papers and lighters and shit. So we get the lighter, we buy a lighter, we go sit down on the edge of the park. Well, no, first we were right behind the tent and we lit up. And then this guy came over and yelled at us and told us to back up, maybe because he thought we'd set the tent on fire.
He's like, move it over, buddy. And I was looking, there was some like caution tape on the ground around the tent. And I'm like, I don't think we're supposed to be this close to the tent. We're in the no zone.
Yeah.
Burn it down.
Yeah, true. And so then we went and sat down. And once again, we're the only white people there.
Only white people there.
Yeah. So I felt like everybody was kind of looking at us anyway. So we sit there and beautiful day. We're sitting around all these people. Everybody's smoking and just kind of like hanging out and stuff. And we smoke half of the joint. And our next plan was to go to Chinatown and then like walk around the city a little bit and hit some breweries.
Of course.
And we're about halfway through this joint and I was like, I'm really fucking high. like really high.
I'm like, me too.
Probably the best weed I've ever had in Mexico.
Ever.
Yeah. And so we start walking and I was like, I got to sit down.
Yeah.
So we sat down on a bench in front of that hospital for like 40 minutes and we just like had high conversations.
We did.
I can't remember. Do you remember anything that we were talking about?
We were, there was one good one. Well, first it was the Social Security office.
Oh yeah,
we thought you looked it up, but we thought it looked like a hospital. It had like the little lady.
Oh yeah,
with the
it was
baby
the Social
or
Security
something.
office. Yeah,
but it was the Social Security office, so that was something funny. And then we were talking about like, I don't even remember. It was so.
Oh,
good.
I was like, you. I think we even recorded a message or something. You're like, you. I said, you oped me. You Midwestern oped me.
Yeah,
because I was trying to pass you the joint and you go, oh. Or some, I don't know, but we were just having like the most ridiculous conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like that was like we couldn't walk. Like,
oh yeah, I was saying like we have to remember these people here don't know who we are. They don't know Nate and Alexis.
They don't know Fat Nate.
They don't know Fat Nate or Skinny Nate or Fat Alexis or this or our history. They just know us right now.
Yeah, like they're not looking at us because this or that. We're like we're just being paranoid, man.
Yeah, they don't know. You don't know me.
Yeah, so dumb. Yeah, I wish we could remember some of the other ones, but yeah. So long story long, that Mexico City is crazy.
Yes.
And the best weed I've ever had.
Yeah.
In Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, probably some of the best weed we've ever had.
Yeah. To that point, so we smoked the half a joint. Mm-hmm. We put the other half in the other joint in your gum container.
Yeah, I had no little baggies or anything.
Then wrapped it in like a napkin, then wrapped it in something else, then put it in your purse. And you reeked. the rest of the day. Like, oh my God, it was so strong. I thought you had a skunk in your purse.
It was so stinky, and everyone would kind of look at us and be like, "Oh, sorry." And it's in my backpack. It's supposed to be waterproof, and it was inside a sneaky zipper in there. Still smelled it everywhere we went. Oh
yeah,
God.
it was so strong. And every time we got in an Uber, you put like your purse in the middle on the floor.
Yeah.
And I like would hit you, and we'd roll down the windows, and we had to pick it up because it's in the purse on the floor, and I'm sitting back in the seat, and I'm like, oh shit, like I can smell this skunky ass weed. It was so good.
That last Uber, as soon as we got in, you could hear him go sniff, and then all the windows went down.
Yeah, I was like,
but he wasn't like, get the fuck out of the car, you smell like weed. He was just like, Mexico City.
Yeah, no, I mean, most people don't care, but I don't want to come across the person that does care, you know.
Yes, we honestly smelled weed everywhere in Mexico City. Not like all the time,
no,
not consistently, but we'd turn a corner and we'd smell it like,
yeah, probably some dude on his balcony or something. Yeah, it wasn't like everywhere smelled like it, but we could be anywhere and still smell it. Yeah,
yes.
So. Yeah, so
that was a fun experience.
Yeah, quite the trip. I mean, I had a fucking blast.
I had a
hope
blast
you did too.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun. The grutas were awesome. The food was always amazing. Mexico City never disappoints. And I know we say Mexico City, but everyone here just calls it Mexico. But I think I have a hard time going Mexico. Well, what part of Mexico?
Well, people call it DFA, like District Federal, like the federal district, or they'll call it CDMX or whatever, but they'll call it Mexico because I believe it's like Washington DC where it's technically its own entity, but I believe it's in the state of Mexico. So there's a state called Mexico, so I think a lot of people just say that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but highly recommend. If anybody's looking to go, please let us know. I got some good recommendations for you. I did a lot of research, so
I'll send you our Google map of stuff.
Yes, exactly. So, and we just have a couple more stories to get to. Nothing big, but we will pick those up next week.
Yes.
Yeah. So as usual, if you are enjoying the stories and the information, buymeacoffee.com/Hansons on Hiatus. You can buy some virtual beers. Also go to hansonsonhiatus.com. You can get the Buy Me a Coffee link there. You can also become a fucky. And that's basically just a monthly subscriber. So you can, if you like what we're doing, you can give us 99 cents a month. You can do $4.99 or $9.99. So
we'd love you to be any size fucky.
Yeah, big, little, small. We don't care. And also the merch store. Lexus is always putting up new designs up there. If there's a design you'd like to see, please let us know and she will whip it up.
I'm working on some Iowa State UCF stuff right now, and I'm working on some Halloween and Dia de Muertos shirts too.
Probably going to be a bigger market for the latter.
Yes, for sure. You never know.
Yeah. Shoot. So, and as usual, like, follow, subscribe, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, iTunes, YouTube Music. I hope everybody has a great and safe weekend. Happy Friday, fuckers.
Happy Friday, fuckies.
That's it. Thanks for listening. Goodbye for now. Bye.